Hey everyone, welcome back to the English Leap Podcast. I'm David.
And I'm Emma. So happy to have you with us again. Wherever you're listening from, your room, your walk, maybe during a quiet moment, we're really glad you're here.
Yeah. It's always a gift to spend this time together. And today's topic is one I think every single person listening can relate to, including us.
Absolutely. Today, we're talking about failure. What it means, how we feel it, and how we move through it.
We all fail. That's part of life. But most of us weren't really taught how to deal with failure.
Nope. We're taught to avoid it, fear it, hide it. But the truth is, a failure is actually one of the best teachers we'll ever have.
So true. And that's what we want to unpack in the next couple of hours, not with pressure, but with honesty and kindness. No fancy advice. Just real talk.
And as always, if you're also here to learn English, don't worry, this conversation is going to be slow, simple, and very natural. Just like last time.
All right. Let's get into it.
So David, when you think of failure, what comes to mind first? Is it something big? Or something more personal?
I'd say both. But the first thing that comes to mind is the time I didn't get into the university I really wanted. I remember feeling embarrassed. Like I let everyone down.
Oof, I know that feeling. It's not just the disappointment, it's the weight of expectation that crashes with it.
Exactly. And the hardest part wasn't even the rejection, it was what I told myself afterward. That maybe I wasn't good enough. Maybe I'd never succeed.
It's amazing how failure can shake your confidence so quickly. And yet, it's also something every single person faces at some point.
That's true. And what about you? Do you remember your first real failure?
Oh yeah. I remember applying for a job I really wanted, and I made it to the final round. I was so hopeful. I imagined my whole life changing. And then, nothing. A cold rejection email.
That stings. Especially when your heart's already in it.
Exactly. I cried. Not because I didn't get the job, but because I believed it was my big break. And suddenly, that door was closed.
I think we've all had those doors slam shut. And it makes you question yourself, your choices, your future, everything.
Totally. And yet, when I look back now, I'm actually glad it didn't work out. That failure pushed me to explore something better for me.
Funny how that works, right? Sometimes failure is actually redirection.
Yes. But of course, in the moment, it doesn't feel like that. In the moment, it just feels like pain.
Definitely. And sometimes, it even feels like the end.
Yes. But it rarely is. More often, it's a pause. Or a shift. Or a hidden beginning.
That's a beautiful way to put it, and I think we also forget how common failure is. We see people's success, the book deal, the happy photos, the achievements, but we rarely see the failures behind it.
So true. Social media shows us the highlight reel, not the bloopers.
Right. You don't see how many times someone was rejected before they were accepted. Or how many nights they cried before they smiled on camera.
Exactly. I remember reading about some of the most successful people in the world, authors, athletes, inventors, and how many times they failed before they made it.
Yeah. Like Thomas Edison said, I didn't fail 1,000 times. I found 1,000 ways that didn't work.
I love that. It's about perspective, isn't it? Seeing failure not as the end of the road, but part of the journey.
Exactly. But I think we still need to be honest. Failure hurts. Even if we learn from it later, it still stings in the moment.
Yes. And it's okay to feel that. We don't have to jump into lessons right away. Sometimes, we just need to sit with the feeling.
That's so important. To allow yourself space to be disappointed, to cry, to feel whatever comes, without rushing into I need to move on.
Exactly. Because if we skip the feeling part, we carry it with us quietly, and it comes out in other ways later.
Yes. Like fear of trying again. Or constantly doubting yourself.
Right. I've done that. Failed at something once, and then avoided it completely for years.
Me too. It's a natural reaction, but also one that keeps us small.
So maybe the first step in dealing with failure is not hiding from it.
Absolutely. Acknowledging it. Talking about it. Even laughing about it sometimes.
Yes. Laughter helps. Even if it's delayed by months or years.
True. I can laugh now about how dramatic I was after that college rejection, but at the time, it felt like the end of the world.
Exactly. And now it's just part of your story.
And a valuable one. I learned more from that no than from a lot of the yes moments.
Same here. Failure builds something in us. Not just resilience, but depth, compassion, perspective.
Wow. That's powerful. So if you're listening to this, and you failed recently, or you're afraid to try because you might fail, just know you're not alone.
Yes. We've both been there. Everyone has. And even though it's painful, it's not the end of your story.
In fact, it might be the beginning of your best chapter.
You know, David, I think failure also teaches us who we really are, not just who we are when things are going well.
Yes. That's so true. It's easy to be confident when everything is going smoothly. But the real test is who you become when things fall apart.
Exactly. Like, how do you treat yourself when you're not doing well? That's such a big part of growth.
Yeah. And honestly, I didn't used to treat myself very kindly when I failed. I'd say things to myself that I'd never say to a friend.
Same here. I think many of us become our own worst critic after failure. We replay every moment. We think, how could I be so stupid? Or why did I even try?
Yes. And the truth is, that voice, that harsh inner critic, doesn't help. It just makes it harder to stand up again.
Totally. I've learned that what we need in those moments is not more pressure, but more compassion. More self-kindness.
I love that. Like, imagine if a close friend failed at something and came to you in tears. You wouldn't yell at them. You'd probably hug them.
Exactly. So why don't we do that for ourselves?
Good question. I think we believe that being hard on ourselves will make us better, but really, it just makes us smaller. Afraid.
Yes. I've noticed that people who give themselves kindness after failure are actually the ones who grow faster. Because they feel safe to try again.
That's powerful. It's like failure is the fire, and self-kindness is the shelter.
Wow. I love that image, and maybe that's the shift we all need, to stop seeing failure as punishment and start seeing it as a part of learning.
Yes. And learning is never perfect. In fact, the best learning is usually messy.
So true. Like when we were kids, we fell down all the time. And no one made us feel bad about it. We just got up and tried again.
Right. When a baby falls while learning to walk, no one says, "You failed. Walking isn't for you."
Haha, exactly. We cheer them on. We say, "You're almost there. Try again."
Imagine if we gave ourselves that kind of support.
Yes. Imagine, and I think part of the reason we fear failure so much is because we tie our identity to it. Like, if I fail, I am a failure.
That's a huge one. We confuse what happened with who we are.
Exactly. But failing doesn't make you a failure. It just makes you human.
Yes. And honestly, the people I admire most are the ones who failed a lot but kept going anyway.
Same. Because failure gives you stories. Strength. It humbles you. And it makes you more relatable.
That's so true. I've had some beautiful conversations with people who were willing to talk about the things that didn't work out.
Me too. There's something really brave about being open about your losses. It creates connection.
Yes. Because deep down, we all know what it feels like. Even if we don't always say it out loud.
Right. And when someone does say it, when they share that they failed, that they struggled, it gives others permission to be honest too.
And I think that's the beginning of healing. Of trying again.
Exactly, so maybe dealing with failure isn't just about moving on. Maybe it's also about being seen. Being heard. Knowing you're not alone in it.
Yes. That's what we're hoping this episode does, just help someone out there feel less alone in whatever they're going through.
And if that's you, if you're in a moment of failure right now, we just want you to know. It's okay.
Yeah. You're not broken. You're not weak. You're just growing.
Yes. And sometimes, growth looks like falling apart first, before coming back stronger.
Absolutely. And your story's not over. Far from it.
David, we've talked a lot about what failure feels like. How it hurts, how it shapes us. But there's another side to it too, what comes after.
Yeah. That quiet moment when you decide to stand up again. Even just a little bit.
Exactly. That moment doesn't always feel powerful, sometimes it feels small, like a whisper, but it's so important.
It really is. Because that's where the shift happens. Not when everything is perfect, but when you say, "Okay, I'm not done yet."
I remember a time when I had failed at something, and I honestly thought that chapter of my life was closed. But I gave it one more try. And it wasn't glamorous. It was shaky and slow. But it led me somewhere new.
That's beautiful. I think sometimes we want to make a big comeback. We wait for the perfect moment to try again. But more often than not, it's the quiet, steady steps that get us there.
Yes. We heal slowly. We rebuild slowly. But we do rebuild.
And honestly, I think failure makes success feel different too. Not louder, but deeper.
That's so true. There's something more meaningful about joy that comes after pain. Like sunlight after a storm. You appreciate it more.
Exactly. It softens you, makes you grateful for the little things.
And it changes how you look at others too. When you've failed, you stop judging so quickly. You understand people better.
Yes. You become someone who says, it's okay. I've been there too.
And those are the best kind of people, aren't they? The ones who don't try to act perfect, but are honest about the mess.
Totally. We don't need perfect people in our lives, we need real ones.
So maybe, if we let it, failure can make us softer. Kinder. More human.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And I think that's where its gift is. Not just in what we learn about life, but in what we learn about ourselves.
Yes. Like discovering strength we didn't know we had. Or realizing we're still worthy, even when we're not winning.
Exactly. Failure strips away all the noise. And what's left? Your heart, your courage, your grit, that's the real you.
Wow. I think we all need to hear that. Especially in a world where we're pressured to succeed all the time.
Yeah. But sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is just keep going. Quietly. Gently. One step at a time.
Yes. And for anyone listening right now who feels like they're behind, or like they've messed everything up, please hear this: you are not alone. And you are not finished.
Not even close. You're growing. Even if you don't see it yet.
So be kind to yourself. Keep trying. And know that failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of it.
I couldn't agree more. And Emma, thank you for this conversation. It really moved me.
Same here, David. It's always a gift to talk like this. Real, slow, and from the heart.
And to everyone who spent this hour with us, thank you. Thank you for listening, for reflecting, and for letting us be a small part of your journey today.
We hope this episode gave you something gentle to carry with you, a little hope, a little strength, and a reminder that failure is never the end.
We'll see you next time on the English Leap Podcast. Until then, take care of your heart, your time, and your dreams.
Bye for now.
Bye, friends.